you guys are gonna watch this, and I want you guys to really like just try to follow me on this one, right? It ain't gonna be hard to follow, but just because it's I'm gonna show you guys how these two things are so connected. But a lot of people don't know, mainly men, like we don't understand how these two things are connected.
People seem to only have a problem with women doing SW when they're the ones directly profiting off of it. Because no one had an issue with Playboy. No one had an issue with all these corn sites. But the minute that something like OF starts up, everyone and their mother is complaining about it. If a woman gets anything financially out of a man without being shackled down with a wedding ring to him, everyone has a problem with it. Men can want stuff from women all the time. Men want everything from women all the fucking time. They want our time, they want our attention, they want our presence, they want the social status, the social currency that they get from being seen with us. They want our bodies. They want everything about us. But the minute that we look at them and say, "Hey, we don't want to watch you dance on a pole. We don't want to have to pay you. We don't want to pay you for XYZ because you give it to us freely." We all that we want is for you to give us the one thing that would make our life easier in exchange for our time, our attention, our presence, our body, whatever. No one has an issue when people leak, you know, uncovered pictures of women on the internet, but the minute she posts them herself and she makes money off of it herself, she is the fucking bane of society. She's the reason why society's failing. This weird purist Puritan culture, saintism that still permeates the culture to this day is so weird. You guys, that's such a weird way to see things. Women can have dominion over their own body and how they want to structure their relationships. What if getting money from men is my K-I-N-K? Because it is. That's my fucking business and my prerogative. And for some men, they like doing that for women. Can we not just live in peace? Why is every fucking bitch bitter about stuff like that? It doesn't matter what community it is. Everyone's bitter. If a man is willing to give a woman his money because she has something that he wants, then that's the end of that discussion. The
Mm-hmm.
men are never shamed for that, and they're the ones.
The men are never shamed when, and we're the market. We're the, you know what I mean? Like we're the we create the market. The women don't create the market. The men create the market. The women are the product. The men are the buyers, right? But if there's no market, then there's no product. You know what I'm saying? So all men, if they really hated OF and they really hated SWs and all that shit, men would just stop participating in it. We would stop. We're the number one demographic. We're the number one consumer. Super easy. If you hate it so much, abstain from it.
Who are giving away the most fucking valuable thing in the world, not by my definition, but just, take a look around you. He's never shamed for it. But a woman wanting that to have a better life for herself and not putting a ring on her finger, or maybe she does, whatever, that's shamed. I hate that.
Facts. So men, they want to be able to have this control over women. They don't want women to be able to make money off of their bodies. They don't really want women to make money at all. They want to restrict women's movements, right? Restrict their freedoms.
I saw a tweet recently, and it was a man talking about how he hates like new age script clubs and new age scrippers because, and I quote, they're not desperate enough like they used to be back in the early 2000s. He was like, it seems like they genuinely enjoy being there, and it's just like, I just hate it. And then he went on to like reply to himself, and other people were replying, and they were all talking about how, yeah, like it's just something about how like they want to do it now, so it's not as fun. Like they don't work as hard because they're not as desperate, and that's just not as fun for me. Like I don't enjoy it as much when I know that they're not there because they have to be. Close. You're a rapist. Y'all are like 100%. The fact that women are consenting to be in the club is what bothers you. It makes it less fun. You're already paying them, so it's already given weird. It's already absolutely coercion, but like Now you're mad that they choose
Like
to do
it. Mm-hmm.
Now you're mad. You're a rapist.
Wicked work. So same thing, right? Same vein. The women, women having autonomy, women having freedom, women getting money, making money off of their bodies and all of that stuff. Men don't, I mean, if men, once again, if men hated like that women had to do this, quote unquote, we would change the system. If men hated that women did this, we would stop engaging in it. We would stop being the number one consumers of say a product or commodity, right? Or activity, right? That's not the issue. That's not the problem at all. But what that young lady was talking about right there, she was talking about, she was touching on how the women aren't as desperate as they used to be. That's the thing that really stood out to me about that. That the men feel like women aren't as desperate as they used to be, which means they do. It's harder to control them. It's harder to manipulate them, right? So, what happens in a country that doesn't recognizes the sovereignty of women, the autonomy of women, doesn't respect it at all? What happens when men start to really feel like that? Like more and more men start to feel like this, right? That happens.
Patriots, they are trying to pass the SAVE Act. Actually, I believe they might have already passed it, which is taking away women's right to vote. If you are a married woman and you share the same last name as your husband, what it says in the act is that your license must reflect the name that is on your birth certificate. Do you see what they're doing? So now all households would only have one right to vote, one vote. Women, what are we doing here? It was women's suffrage. How long? Remember the lady who did Yes, We Can and all that stuff? Huh? Women have come too far to allow these old white Republicans to tell you what to do. But yes, now.
Hold on, wait. This is not a fight. I mean, women should fight. Yeah, they're gonna fight. They've always been fighting. But this is a fight that men should be fighting. Because this is about human rights. It's not just about women's rights, it's about human rights. So instead of telling women, hey, women, what are we doing? No. Men, what are we going to do about this? Are we going to push back against this? Or are we just going to be like, well, women, I mean, they talking to you. They ain't talking to me. They're doing it on our behalf, man. So if you're upset about it, then say something. See something, say something, right? Stand up. Don't put this off on women. This is not women's responsibility, even though they're going to be the ones affected by it, right? The most. It's not their responsibility. It's all of our responsibility. That's how we got to start looking at this shit. Stop looking at this shit like this is a woman problem. This is a child problem. It's a black person problem. This is a Latino person's problem. This is an immigrant problem. No. This is a human problem. This is a human problem. And if you want to, this is an American problem. For those of you fucking patriots out there. I'm not a patriot. I couldn't care less. But yeah, for those, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this is a human problem. Come on.
Ladies, your vote will not be counted if you are married if you changed your last name, because now your last name, it must be the same as what was on your birth certificate or you cannot vote. Look it up. It is happening.
It hasn't passed. This thing says Trump passes new law. Trump hasn't passed a new law. He can't pass laws. He could sign laws. He could sign bills, but he can't pass laws. That's not what he does. That's for the House and the Senate. But yeah. So that this ideology that women aren't desperate enough, that women, this problem that men have with women making money off of them, all of that is connected to this political ideology, to this political practice of restricting women's rights and women's movements. Because like the lady said in the second video, men feel like women aren't desperate enough. Not just strippers, though. Men feel like women aren't desperate enough in general, right? That's why women aren't marrying men in droves like they used to, because they're not desperate enough. So we got to make women more desperate. So in one breath, I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, they've been screaming this whole time they want women to get married, right? They're marriage. But then you do this. So it's like, but this would like if I was a woman, I wouldn't like this would what? I'm not getting married to any man. You taking away my right to vote. But so they're not dumb. They're also simultaneously doing things like getting rid of DEI and stuff like that, which predominantly, help white women. But that's the majority of our country when it comes to the female population is comprised of white women. But yeah, it predominantly helped white women, right? I mean, it predominantly helped women, let's say in this context, predominantly helped women. They get rid of DEI and, affirmative action legislation. And that is going to lock women out of higher paying jobs. That's going to push women out of universities as well. So they're going to be more reliant on men financially, right? Which will drive them into marriage more. And then on the front end, or the whatever end you want to call this end, they're trying to make laws to where women who get married and change their last names don't have the right to vote. So they're covering all their bases. You just got to watch it. You got to see all the angles, right? And this is how we can address it, like once and for all, right? This is going to blow your mind. This is going to blow your mind to some people. It didn't blow my mind. It actually, I didn't even know the answer, but I answered the question correctly.
This blew my mind. I did not know this. What year do you think women's equal rights were enshrined in the U.S. Constitution?
I am always so off on these years.
That's okay. Just
enshrined in the Constitution.
Yeah, like that.
Like an amendment?
There was an amendment made that ensured like women's equal rights.
Okay.
In comparison to men.
Like maybe in the 70s.
Okay. It never has been. Our rights are not protected in the Constitution. Listen.
It's just legislation. It's not
not constitutional.
Constitutional.
Yes, it's not protected, so it can be
taken
away.
Right, because then a Supreme Court ruling could strike it as unconstitutional.
Exactly, which they did with like Roe v. Wade. And everybody thinks this equal rights thing is all about RVW. It's not, because the 14th Amendment only expressly guarantees equal rights in that men are equal.
Right. So
not women explicitly.
So it's race, it's men regardless of race.
Yes.
With it.
Black men, you hear that? You hear that, black man? Let's go back. Because the black men, I be telling them, I was like, man, I was just having this discussion the other day about how black men and white men, black men we've sold out black women at every single turn, right? And white women have sold out everybody at every single turn too, right? But we've sold out black women and we sold out white women. We've sold out women. Black men should be on the side of women, period. We should be fighting for women, for equal rights for everybody as black men. But instead, we keep making these backdoor deals with white men, and we are shooting ourselves in the foot. But listen to what he's saying. They just said the 14th Amendment is about black men having the same rights as white men. That's what this is. That's what that is about. So when black men say, well, what rights do I have over a white person? Yeah, that would be it. Because the patriarchy is the patriarchy is the patriarchy. That's how it works.
Right. So
not women explicitly.
So it's race. It's men regardless of race.
Yes.
What that legally says.
Yes.
Then.
Now there's different
on the news.
Me and this gentleman have very similar faces when I pink pill myself every day. I'm sure their thing, like he's getting pink pilled or whatever. Like I pink pill myself every day, right? Like that's like a part of what I do. And I make those faces all the time. Like when you hear and listen and read and study the shit that I do, and you see the things that men are doing to women and have done to women historically, like you just like, what the fuck? Like how diabolical is this? The same way when I find out stuff about black people, especially like in the spirit of Black History Month, I was literally just reading about slavery, right? You guys need to understand that we don't know jack shit about slavery. We don't know jack shit about slavery. We don't. We don't. Nobody talked about slavery. The only people that talked about slavery were the slave masters. We don't know jack shit about slavery. We get bits and pieces, little bitty glimpses, and every now and again, you get like a real authentic raw story, kind of like what it was like, and you're like, that face that I'm like, what the fuck? That's what that shit is for me. That's how all of this shit is connected. I make the exact same faces finding out about my ancestors, the shit that they had to go through, the things that they suffered through, the things that they survived. I do the same thing about women. I'm like, damn. Wow. All women, white women, black women, all women been going through hell. So I can empathize with that. As a black man, I can empathize with that struggle. I can empathize with that struggle as a black man. Race aside, everything else aside, country aside, I can empathize with the struggle of a group of people that are being oppressed strictly based on the way that they present. That's it. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, man. We have to do better. You see how all of this shit is connected? All of this shit is connected. All that the men want women desperate. We need women to be desperate so that they can be with us. That's what we believe. We don't need that, right? You know what I'm saying? But to have them the way that we want to have them, we need them to be desperate, I would say. We don't need them to be desperate to be with us. Women don't need to be desperate to be with you. All you have to do is be a decent guy and you'll get a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just gonna put it bluntly. If you're a decent guy, you'll find a girl will find you. Like, you'll be fine, right? If you haven't found a woman yet, more than likely you're not a decent guy. You're not. You may even be a actual caring, gentle soul, but you may lack confidence. You know what I'm saying? You may, you may lack charisma. You may lack something that you may have to work on, right? That's what I'm saying by decent. I don't necessarily mean, you being a good or a quote unquote bad person, not necessarily. I'm just saying you may have a lot of work to do. But if you're a decent guy, you got some character about you, you got some charisma about you, you'll be fine, man. You'll be fine.